I'll bet nobody saw this coming. Davis retains the championship because of referee Steve Willis. Nobody could have seen that coming.
Can't speak on that? He did some shit though?
I can't speak on it.
No personal opinion, nothing?
Can't. Especially
show you right there, he got power.
Cash cow.
That's what I'm saying. He put in the seats, man.
And I'll tell you what, Steve Willis also knew there was a count because he started counting. And then
A leaked audio recording has allegedly exposed a conspiracy between Gervonta "Tank" Davis and referee Steve Willis to manipulate the outcome of Davis's fight against Lamont Roach Jr. This shocking revelation has ignited outrage among fans and analysts, prompting widespread calls for an immediate investigation into the integrity of the bout. The controversy has cast a shadow over Davis's victory, raising serious questions about the fairness of the fight. Veteran referee Jack Rice weighed in on the scandal, emphasizing the flexibility of boxing's rules. He highlighted that referees hold ultimate authority in the ring, with full discretion to determine knockdowns and stoppages. Rice's comments have only fueled the ongoing debate, with many questioning whether the alleged conspiracy was a result of boxing's inherent regulatory gray areas or a blatant act of corruption. As public scrutiny intensifies, fans and analysts alike demand transparency and accountability. If the allegations prove true, it could have major consequences for Davis's career and the sport's credibility. While Davis has yet to respond to the claims, the controversy continues to dominate headlines, leaving the boxing world eager for answers and a potential resolution to one of its biggest scandals.
also Moso Hernandez, when he lands the punch and turns his back and takes a knee, he gets counted. You think of Miguel Cotto against Antonio Margarito, where, you know, it was under duress and he just took that knee. And of course, my compadre right here, Chris Algieri against Ruslan Provodnikov as well. It wasn't a particular shot. You feel something, you feel discomfort, you take a knee. All those times, there's a count, dude. I mean, and I'll tell you what, Steve Willis also knew there was a count because he started counting and then stopped.
Yeah, we'll get to it. There's more than one pillar of this defense for Lamont Roach Jr., but the first one's a knockdown, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, we have a ton of experts on the panel today. I'm going to speak from a fighter standpoint, just like you did, Champ. You know, and you can argue whether that right hand landed clean or if it landed hard or how hard those jabs were. It doesn't matter. Champ, when you mentioned when I took that knee against Ruslan Provodnikov, I actually didn't get hit. I was still recovering from the last knockdown where my orbital was damaged. My eye was damaged. My vision was impaired. I gave ground so I would keep my opponent off me, and I still couldn't see. So I took a knee, understanding very well that as soon as I took that knee, I was going to get a count. Yeah. And I had 8 to 9 seconds to get up, and I had more time to get my vision back, which it did, thank God.
And Mayweather didn't get hit either. He threw the punch.
Yeah, he actually landed left on Hermoso, Hernandez.
So, you know, this is standard procedure here, guys.
Yeah, and we got to see. The question I have to ask, I got to start with Jack Reese. Is there something we are, as fans, aren't seeing about this knockdown that changes it? Because me, as a fan, I saw a knockdown in round number 9. What's your thought?
The main point of contention is that Davis took a knee during the 9th round. Many contend that the judges' scorecards would have been much affected if this incident had been declared a knockdown. There is a lot of discussion over the validity of the fight because the knee is not considered a knockout.
Tank Davis, GTD, and I don't mean got the draws, went up against Lamont Roach. Let me tell you something. Tank got spanked. Roach should have won. And Tank even dropped to his knee. It should have been called a knockdown. But they let it slide. They said, you know what? He said he had grease in his eye from his braids. But it still should have been counted as a knockdown. Because since it was a unanimous draw, that knockdown would have gave Roach...
Boozy Yis, an experienced trainer, offered his opinion, saying that although the bout was tough, he thought Roach had a small edge. With more than 40 years of boxing experience, Andis said he had never seen a situation in which a combatant took a knee without it being declared a knockdown. Additionally, he recognized Davis's powerful striking ability and recommended that similar occurrences be thoroughly examined.
He was ready. He was in shape. He took Tank punches, you know what I mean? And they was going back and forth, you know what I mean? And I thought it was a real close fight, but I thought Lamont edged it.
Were you surprised that Lamont backed Tank up and was winning in exchanges? Because Tank is looked at as probably the biggest puncher in boxing.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised because, like I said, when he came out the first time, he came out using his jab and like he was backing him up. But you know, Tank fight that way a lot anyway. He fight like that anyway. He'll move around. You can back him up all you want. And, you know, Tank set them traps, man. He set them traps. So, you know, the traps that he was trying to set, Wichita was prepared for the trap. You know what I mean? He was prepared for the trap because he would counter and Lamont would counter right back. You know what I mean? So it was a great fight, man. Can't take nothing away from neither one of them.
Now, as far as the knee goes, you've been in boxing for over 40 years.
Over 40. Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything like that? A guy takes a knee?
No. Now that's something I didn't expect him to do. You know what I mean? You know, he took the knee. You know what I mean? And then ran to the corner and got his eyes right there. They never allowed that. They would have started counting. You know what I mean? I see that he started counting, then he stopped. You know what I mean? But you gotta understand, you know, Tank got a lot of power. That show you right there, he got power.
Cash cow.
That's what I'm saying. He put asses in the seats, man.
Somebody said him getting his face wiped off, him sticking his head through the ropes and getting his face wiped off was supposed to be a disqualification. Is that a rule?
That's what they say. That's what they say. That's what I heard.
Kambosos Jr., a former unified lightweight champion, expressed his worries about the event. He underlined that a boxer cannot just take a knee in boxing without it being deemed a knockdown. Kambosos emphasized the time and commitment Roach put into his training camp, arguing that such instances compromise the integrity of the sport and the participants' labor.
Giving him some work, and he looked good, man. I got to give respect to Lamont Roach. He proved a lot of guys wrong. I think he shocked Tank a lot with what he was able to bring. And again, we saw the controversy with the knee. To me, that's a knockdown. You can't just take a knee and decide to, go to your corner and get your face wiped. So, if that's a 10-8 round, Lamont wins the fight. So it's unfortunate, but that's the fight game. Hopefully they'll do it again and he gets paid, what he's worth.
Have you ever seen anything like that in boxing before? A guy sort of just voluntarily.
We've seen Floyd take a knee and be put on the count. We've seen Miguel Cotto, take a knee, obviously into his corner, be put on the count. If we're allowed to start taking knees and run to our corners, well, I'm gonna start doing it too. If I as soon as I feel something, everyone will start to do it. But it's just not right. You're a warrior. Doesn't matter if there's grease in your eye, a bit of gel in your eye, or whatever excuse you want to use. I've been through wars where there's blood pouring in my eyes. In the Lomachenko fight, blood was pouring. I'm wiping it away. We've seen it with other fighters. We don't get opportunities just to take a knee, go to our corner, wipe us up, and might as well have a coffee and have a laugh and then get back to action. It doesn't work that way.
I saw a bit of back and forth between you and Hitchens on Twitter, you and Gervonta as well. Where does that sort of animosity come from?
They just love mentioning Kambosos. They love the name, and like I said, when we're getting called out and spoken about by the world level guys, the champions, they're all champions, world champions. It shows how big our name is, and like it or not, we still have one of the biggest names in this game. Love me or hate me, you have to respect what I've been able to do, the guys I've been able to fight, and still, headlining big shows and still in line for more title fights and opportunities to become two-division champions.
According to renowned trainer Robert Garcia, if a boxer takes a knee without a valid reason, such a low strike, the officials should stop the bout. Garcia noted that competitors are not allowed to request timeouts during a round under boxing regulations. Willis is generally regarded as a competent referee and should not have made this oversight, he said, expressing astonishment at Willis's judgment.
And should it have been a disqualification?
Look, it could have easily been a disqualification too, or a referee stops contest, because look, there's no way a fighter could take a timeout and go get his, during the round. There's no way a fighter could say, okay, timeout, because he took a knee like a timeout kind of thing, and walk to his corner to wipe his face. That's fucking unheard of and never seen before. There's no way that's legal in boxing. It shouldn't have. When a fighter, we just seen it recently with Espinosa and Rubesis. Rubesis got hit with the right hand, and then he walks back and walks away, and the ref right away wiped it up.
That happened with Lara versus Angulo.
Exactly. It's over. It's over. So Tank doing that, took a knee. It should have right away. The ref should have started, counting as a knockdown. But he still walks away to his corner. I'm actually, surprised that the ref didn't call it a knockdown, because he's a really good ref.
Willis is a really good ref.
Willis is a great ref, one of the best in boxing right now, and that was a big mistake. He should have counted as a knockdown. Like I told you, I wouldn't have been surprised if when he walked away, if he would have just waved it up, because that's walking away from the fight. Because of the eyes, okay, well, during the break, tell the corners to wipe it out. You can't do that when the fight's going on. There's no way, nothing. You can't do that when the fight's going on. You can't time out, take a knee, and walk away. There's just no way. But it is boxing, and a lot of things happen.
Draley Romero, a lightweight contender, had a more sympathetic viewpoint by admitting that every boxer has bad nights, implied that outside influences could have affected the outcome of the fight, and that Davis's performance might have fallen short of his typical level.
People want to discredit Tank. He's still a pound-for-pound fighter.
Yeah. What do you think about that fight that happened? You thought it was just an off night, or?
Everybody has an off night. Everybody has an off night. Shit, I had a off night with Cruz. Everyone has a off night. It's boxing.
You want to run that back with Cruz or what?
Maybe down the line.
Roach Jr. responded to the incident by highlighting his capacity for concentration during the altercation. He demonstrated his mental toughness and readiness by stating that outside distractions did not stop him from carrying out his strategy.
That Gervonta Davis made from previous times that he had been fighting. He made a change in trainers, but he also made a change in the location in which he was training. He went and had Barry Hunter from DC, from a gym called Headbangers in DC, as his head trainer, while Calvin Ford and Kenny Smith took a backup role. Gervonta Davis also worked out in Washington, D.C. Now, as you know, Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach fought each other in the amateurs. Their teams know each other. The people know each other. They all know each other in the same circle. What was told to me was that Lamont Roach's team knew pretty much what Gervonta Davis was going to do and what his approach was going to be to the fight, because they knew what Gervonta Davis was working on in camp. That because he was in that same area and it was the DC area, and Lamont Roach was a DC fighter, and Gervonta Davis considered DC his second home, but it's not his second home. There's a big rivalry between DC and Baltimore.
Davis reportedly altered his training schedule significantly, training in Washington, D.C., without his regular instructor Calvin Ford. This change gave Roach's staff information about Davis's preparation, which might have affected their approach and the outcome of the fight.
Gervonta Davis take a knee, and should he have been deducted a point, and in the end lost that fight to Roach, in your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, if it was a draw, he take a knee. And plus the corner go up and put it a towel in the face, that's a disqualification for sure. I'm talking about the rules, but it's not my business.
Regarding the conclusion of the fight, superstar Canelo Alvarez was blunt in his opinion. He believed that Davis should have been disqualified since his corner had entered the ring to help him without the referee's consent, which is against boxing rules. Alvarez's position emphasizes how important it is to follow the rules in order to preserve the integrity of the sport.
One thing that's kind of baffling is that it wasn't a knockdown. I mean, look, he wasn't hurt. There's no doubt about that. But if you take a knee in the fight and you touch down, whilst punches are being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. I've heard some people saying, oh, that, you know, he should be disqualified. He went back to the corner. I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that's a warning, but it's a bit of a bizarre situation for me. Like, there was a lot of people in boxing that were saying that this is a really tough fight. Like, Lamont Roach is a serious fighter. I said it might not be the biggest profile fight, but it's actually quite a tough fight. And Shakur said to me, like, even the day before, I'm telling you, he's going to have big trouble tomorrow night. And I just feel like hopefully this could be the little something that gives Gervonta a little wake-up call to take him back to the mindset of maybe where he was.
Counter-argument was made by promoter Eddie Hearn, who claimed that a knockdown could only occur if the combatant was punched and then touched the canvas, saw that Davis did not seem distressed and was not obviously injured by Roach's blow, indicating that the referee's call was appropriate.
All right, let's go back to fight night, y'all. Gervonta versus Lamont, man. DC versus Baltimore, man. As y'all might know, I'm gonna give y'all a little history. Baltimore really ain't a part of the DMV. We don't really claim them. They a part of, it's two different worlds. So it's always been competition in the city between Baltimore, DC, and the real Maryland, which is like Upper Marlboro, Capitol Heights, and all that. So this is really a fight for the city, if y'all ain't know. So, but people didn't really know about Lamont. But what I'm saying is that it was a draw. I figured it would be that way because Gervonta the champ, and I feel like Lamont did win though. The combos was like 3-1. He was landing 3 combos, and then Gervonta was landing 1. Every one he threw 3 to 4 combos after that. So I felt like he won, but both at the end.
Honestly, backed up Gervonta Davis a lot. Ultimately, I don't think the draw is the worst decision in the world. I think, you know, obviously Lamont overperformed here, or at least the look is that he overperformed. But I'll tell you where robbery can come into play. 2 scorecards were even. There's a knockdown not given to Lamont Roach. You know, Gervonta took a knee on his own. Let's remember when Mayweather did this against Carlos Famoso Hernandez years ago when his hand hurt, the referee counted him. So that was counted as a knockdown. Steve Willis is supposed to count that as a knockdown. And if Steve Willis counts that as a knockdown, Lamont wins by 1 point on 2 scorecards. And that knee that Gervonta Davis took ends up becoming the difference on the scorecards. I don't think a draw is the end.
That so many of you are arguing that Gervonta Davis did is not a knockdown compared to what Lamont Roach did right here. He's getting pushed down. What do y'all mean? There are so many times in a fight where fighters are forced down to take a knee. It's a veteran move. Let me put this into perspective for you guys that really don't understand this. Think about it. Every single time a fighter wanted a break because his opponent was walking him down, he had no answer. He was getting touched up more than he liked to. All he had to do was take a knee. And it's not a knockdown and a point taken. If every time you wanted to fix your eye or wipe the sweat off or, hey, my glove is loose, I just got to take a knee. Imagine the amount of people that would be doing. Imagine how bad fights would look with that. That's a cop-out. That should have been 100% ruled a knockdown. I'm a Tank Davis fan. I think Tank won the fight. I think he won 115, 113. I thought he pulled off the dub. But had that been scored a knockdown, we don't know what.
Sorry, but if you're a Gervonta Davis fan, you might want to watch out. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, check this out. Yesterday, Lamont Roach Jr. tweeted out, word on the block, y'all favorite fighter finna be 30-1, not 30-1, 2-time 2-division champ. And I believe it was Ring Magazine tweeted out that basically the New York Athletic Commission was looking at the fight because the technology was messed up or the technology wasn't available during the fight to actually determine if it was a knee. And before the video goes any further, make sure you hit the follow button. But this is actually insane because technically, if that's counted a knee, he won that fight. In my mind, Lamont still won that fight. I wasn't too mad with the draw, but if you add that knockdown in, which I definitely think it should be counted as a knockdown, then that's a loss on Gervonta Davis's record. And honestly, he didn't earn the win. I thought the draw was okay, but I don't think he earned the win. And the real question that comes up is, do you think the Athletic Commission will actually overturn the fight and give Lamont Roach the win? I'm not too sure about that. I don't know how confident I am in them to actually overturn it, but who knows? Let me know what y'all think in the comments though, because if this gets overturned, this might be one of the biggest stories in boxing this year. And if you haven't already made it to the end of the video, go ahead, hit the follow button. What are we doing?
Nobody, and I repeat, nobody likes ties in a damn boxing fight, bro. A tie? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm not gonna lie, like around 8 or 9, that was going crazy. Like it was back and forth and everything, but like, come on now, stop it. Stop. Davis was supposed to get that fight, bro. He was supposed to win, bro. Like, are you kidding me? Like, who's ever in charge, bro, if it ends in a tie, y'all are going to immediately fight until somebody gets knocked out. Simple as that. Whoever falls first loses. It is that simple, bro. It is that simple. Because if they do a rematch and it's Lambert in this fight, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. So you might as well fight immediately right after that. Like what are we doing? A tie?